Thanks, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. In January, the Treasurer said that fixing bracket creep was one of his highest priorities, saying, "I'm quite passionate about it because I think it's one of the things that's holding the Australian economy back." But now, less than 2 months later, the government has walked away from income tax cuts. What is the point of this government? What's happened to the Treasurer's passion? And when will the government start governing?
The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for his question as he continues to speculate about the budget, and I invite him to come on May 10 and he can hear what the budget is and he'll know what all the decisions are, rather than speculating and poring over the speculation in the papers every day because he's got nothing better to do, Mr Speaker. But the government does believe, Mr Speaker, that it's important that you back the earners in this economy. And Mr Speaker, I remain absolutely committed that as the government we need to do what we can, Mr Speaker, to ensure that we ease the burden on those who earn in this economy, Mr Speaker, whether they be income tax payers, Mr Speaker, be they small businesses, be they large businesses, be it anyone who's out there actually earning in this economy. Those opposite, Mr Speaker, have a different approach. Those who actually want to go out there and take the risk and invest in a property for their future, what they're saying opposite is you're the problem. You're the problem. You should be taxed more so the police and the nurses and the paramedics and the Defence Force personnel and all of those who they know are the predominant users of negative gearing, Mr Speaker, their answer to them is you should be taxed more because this mob over there, Mr Speaker, they cannot control their spending. But, Mr Speaker, on this side of the House we do believe it's important to reduce the tax burden on Australians, and we will do that wherever we can, Mr Speaker, and we will target the resources we have to ensure that it goes to the place best able to drive investment and to support the transition in this economy, Mr Speaker. And the one thing we won't do, Mr Speaker, is we won't lead people on these things, Mr Speaker, like those opposite did. And I refer to the comments from the member opposite who said this to Fran Kelly on my birthday. Actually, it was a birthday present. Come back to me today. He said the government, this was when they were in government, the government has returned the budget to surplus. This is in 2010, 3 years ahead of schedule and ahead of any other major advanced economy. This apparently happened in some parallel universe in 2010. And the member took the show on the road. He just didn't do it here. When he was in Malaysia, addressing the 6th World Islamic Economic Forum, Mr Speaker, this is what he said. He said by the middle of 2013 our budget will be back in surplus. This is what the member, and he wants to lecture this side of the House, Mr Speaker, when it comes to fiscal management, and he wants to lecture this side of the House on our commitment to ensure that we reduce taxes. This is the government on this side of the House that got rid of the carbon tax. This is the government on this side of the House that got rid of the mining tax, got rid of the members' opposite bank deposits tax. This is the government that has reduced taxes, Mr Speaker, not increased taxes in net terms, Mr Speaker. What we have done is delivered on our commitments to reduce the tax burden on Australians, and that's what we're about.